Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and also welcome to my very first video tutorial here on YouTube. This is just a short video, but if you would like to access the full 2.5-hour tutorial in real time with full voiceover instructions explaining my process, then head over to my Patreon page. I also have the initial line drawing, reference photo and materials list there too, which you can download to help you through the tutorial. Okay, so here is a quick rundown of the techniques and process I used for this beautiful blue cat's eye. So I've started my drawing with a dark sepia polychromos pencil to draw in the outline of the eye, the pupil and the tear duct. I've then made a start on the iris, which is the coloured part of the eye. I'm using light cobalt blue here, which is the Museum Aquarelle range of pencils. I'm using this brand mainly in this tutorial with a few luminance and polychromos as well. The Museum Aquarelle is a watercolour pencil, but don't worry, you don't need to use a watercolour pencil. You can use a dry colour pencil, but if you do, I highly recommend using a touch of odourless mineral spirits such as Zest-It to help blend the pigments. Once I'd got my initial base layer down, I then blended with a cotton bud to soften off those edges. Then going in with some of the mid-tones and finally with some of the darker tones around the darkest shadows, such as under the eyelid and around the pupil. Again, I softened off with a cotton bud so we can gently blend those together. I'm now starting to add in some of the details around the eye and then softening off with a white colour pencil. And then going to add in some of the details around the eyelashes and then re-emphasising some of the mid-tones and some of the darker tones as well to really help the eye punch out and give it that spherical look. Again, keep adding in my damp cotton bud very slightly and touching up here and there with a few highlights. I'm now going in with my brush and pencil titanium white, which is basically white pencil ground down into powder form, and with a touch of water we can apply it like paint to some of the brighter highlights. And then I proceed to soften off with a cotton bud. I'm now starting on the lower eyelid of the eye, just refining firstly with my dark sepia pencil. Then I am mapping out some of the directional first strokes just so I can get an idea of a base to work upon. I'm now starting to apply a base layer to the surrounding fur, followed by a damp cotton bud so we can have a nice coverage of colour to work upon and also to eliminate any paper grain. Next, I'm starting to add some of the directional first strokes, watching my reference photo quite closely so we can get the correct direction of the fur in place. Next, I applied a glaze of dark blue just to add a bit of life to the black. I applied this in varying pressures depending on where the darker tones lay. I then softened with a cotton bud again, bonding those colours together, pushing the cotton bud in the direction of the fur. I then went back in with my black luminance pencil to start mapping out some of the fur direction and also to begin adding a few details to the fur. It's really important to keep my pencil really sharp for these directional fur strokes so we can really capture the fineness of the cat's fur. Here I'm quite simply refining the corner of the eye and the lower eyelid, just glazing some colour and blending it into the surrounding fur. Once again, I'm using a very slightly damp cotton bud, not applying too much water this time, but just enough to blend those pencil strokes together for a nice soft finish. Now we have a nice rich base layer down. I'm going in with my white pencil. This is the Museum Aquarelle white, where I'll start to map out some of the fur direction of the fur. This appears to be white fur strokes, but it's actually the highlight and the shine within the black fur. Next, I'm going back in with my black luminance pencil, basically adding another layer over the entire fur, applying slightly harder pressure in the most shadowed areas and lighter pressure in the lighter areas. And then I will repeat the process, adding white first strokes, black first strokes and glazes of colour in the darkest shadowed areas. The fur around a cat's eye and nose is quite precise and does go in lots of different directions, so it is important to keep a close eye on your reference photo to make sure you are capturing the fur in the correct direction, and also to make sure your pencil strokes are the right length. Some are longer than others, and around the nose the fur strokes do tend to be quite short. Each time I apply a new layer, it adds a little more depth to the drawing. I will also drag cotton bud here and there, but only very slightly damp, almost dry in some cases, so we don't eliminate those pencil strokes completely underneath. And then followed again by some more white pencil strokes to add a few touches of highlights to the shiniest parts of the fur. Finally, to add some of the white flecks of fur which appear in this cat, I'm going back in with my brush and pencil titanium white and a very small fine brush to add a few of those highlights. It looks very strange at this stage, but when we apply the cotton bud it will blend out quite nicely. Final stages are quite repetitive, working between the lighter tones and the darker tones, and then working more with the highlights and shadows, adding further glazes, adding further detail, and so it goes on. Thank you so much for watching this short tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to continue to watch the entire video in real time, it's about 2.5 hours long, then please don't forget to head over to my Patreon. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.